And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection, your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Located in the traditional territory of the Wet'suwet'en people, the mountain is named after the Hudson Bay Company Ranch that was once located near Driftwood Creek in Smithers. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 2003.
They're an unusual bunch. Some people would even say they're not quite right. And they're everywhere. On every continent that boasts any kind of mountainous terrain, you'll find this creature called the skier. And it's no different here in the Northwest. Take Hudson Bay Mountain in Smithers, for example. As long as there's snow, there will be skiers. And it doesn't really matter what kind of snow, as long as it's on the ground. No matter what the weather decides, freezing winds, blowing snow, or sub-zero temperatures, the true skier will not flinch, remaining undaunted in the search for that perfect run. And that accounts for the outlandish costumes they wear. Skiers can be identified by their style of dress, which includes an assortment of colorful items. When it comes to the outer garments, the brighter the better. And although warmth is a consideration, it's also important to look good. You know, sort of racy. That explains the sleek-fitting pants, the racing striped jackets, and headgear reminiscent of the NASA space program. Freedom! And speaking of astronauts, those boots worn by skiers look like they should be on the moon, but they're not as heavy or cumbersome as they look. Ski equipment has come a long way from the days of the lace-up boot and the heavy wooden ski thanks to modern technology. Not only are today's skis made of sophisticated materials, they look like they could actually take flight. Well, come to think of it, they often do. But that's not everything. Don't forget the insulated gloves, sometimes a challenge just to put on. The long underwear, the ski sweater, the ski socks, the ski wax, the ski lessons. Purchase a ski pass and now you're ready to hit the slopes. Figuratively speaking, that is. This particular day, we visited Hudson Bay Mountain to get a closer look at these skiing creatures. When you consider the nature of the sport, sliding down a steep vertical covered in snowy bumps and trees, the margin for error must be fairly large. And keeping an eye on the unpredictable skier is the man with the yellow cross, the symbol of the ski patrol. It's his job to help prevent accidents and attend to people who may need help.
Depends on the snow conditions. If there's good snow conditions, there's no problem. But when there's bad snow conditions, people get lost and they go exploring on foggy days and they end up in the gulch and you have to go find them.
Try and educate people a little bit then.
I want to educate them, yeah. Just you use a little common sense when you're skiing, for sure.
Not surprisingly, fear doesn't seem to be a characteristic common to the skiing human. At the top of the fearless list is, of course, the young ski racer, easily identified by the crash helmet and brightly colored tight-fitting suit with a stretch capacity that challenges the imagination. And the racer is used to a challenge, thriving in a world of speed and competition. These young racers from across northern BC are pushing themselves to the limit, hoping to edge out the competition and go on to bigger races. Fear doesn't seem to be a factor, at least not for the kids.
Sure.
But what about their parents? Do they worry about the obvious danger of the sport?
Yes, I don't particularly like to watch them race downhill. I do. I kind of hold my breath. I go down the hill with them, and through the gates, but I still, tell them before the race, you got to go for it.
Oh, you'd be late.
So it's not something you think about too much.
No, I'd rather not.
Fast enough, you can respect.
Comes with the territory.
That's right, it does. If you're going to win, you've got to go fast, and you have to take chances.
Not only is there a certain element of danger for these human dive bombers, it's also a costly undertaking to get involved in the racing circuit. But as far as Al Collison is concerned, the race program his son and daughter are involved in is an investment that's worth every penny.
I like the program because it is a real character builder for all the kids. It gives them team spirit, and they really do not have any time to get into trouble. They're either studying, or they're training, or they're traveling, or they're racing. And yes, it is expensive, but as one of our parents, who is a lawyer, says to me, it's cheaper than hiring a lawyer.
Although not everyone has the desire or ability to maneuver through giant slalom gates at breakneck speeds, the ski bug can hit anyone at any time. Taking a look around the ski hill, we see that skiers come in all sizes, shapes, and ages. For some, the challenge is a little greater than for others, but everything in its own time. Some people opt to learn the sport through a trial and error process, while others join a ski class. Either way, the aspiring shush boomer must work hard to reach a certain level of expertise. In the initial stages, just figuring out how to put on a pair of ski boots or mastering the art of getting on and off the T-bar can be quite a challenge. With those basic skills out of the way, it's on with the business of learning simple turns like the snowplow and stem Christie.
How you doing?
But what about all those people who run the ski operation? They're usually working at the ski hill because they're ski fanatics who want to work and live near the snow upon which they love to carve turns. You'd think it would be torture to be the one at the bottom of the hill, sending hundreds of people up to the top to do the very thing you love most.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. Formerly known as Ski Smithers, Hudson Bay Mountain Resort is the largest ski area in northwestern British Columbia and is known for the Rotary Community Trail to town. Let us return to the archives as John Carey shares some secrets of Ski Smithers' success.
That's 2 seasons.
Ski Smithers General Manager John Curry attributes the friendliness of his staff to a BC government-sponsored program called Superhost.
And we're one of the only ski areas in the province now they're doing this, but all our staff must go through the Superhost program. And what it is, they're taught to meet the customers and how to deal with customers, etc. And we found this to be a very advantageous how they perform on their job.
So they're basically just learning how to effectively deal with the public.
That's exactly what it is.
Those familiar with the ski area 14 miles west of Smithers will notice a few changes this year, with both the upper chalet and rental shop sporting a fresh paint job.
We've speeded up the T-bar about 24%, which has been just excellent for the skier because it is about a 6-minute run now, which is a lot easier to ride. And we've done summer slope grooming, summer maintenance. We made quite a few improvements inside the interior of the chalet, such as new rugs in the lounge and also in the cafeteria, some little curtains in the cafeteria, and mainly painted the whole building and the whole inside of the building. And we've worked on the water system this year, so hopefully our water system problems have been solved and things are looking very positive that way.
Ski Smithers will also very likely experience some positive effects from the closure of Kitsim-Kalem Mountain near Terrace. The plan was to move the buildings, chairlift, and other equipment from Kitsim-Kalem to the new ski hill at Shames Mountain. Since Shames didn't get off the ground this year for financial reasons, Hudson Bay Mountain is the only ski area in the region with the exception of Mount Hayes in Prince Rupert. And Curry hopes to see more skiers from across the northwest as a result.
Well, hopefully we get a very good impact from it. At the same time, we'd like to see Shames get going because Shames does produce new skiers, and I'm sure that the skiers will drop off from the western areas just because they don't have the local ski area to ski at. And I'm sure, with some work that Shames will be open within the next year or two anyway.
Because this is the thing that it's not, ski hills don't compete against each other. They want to see more ski hills in the area, is that right?
Well, yes, because what's happening, it may hurt us the first year, like I said before, but at the same time, it's going to produce new skiers, and local population is very important. Let's say if Terrace or Kitimat to bring along new skiers, and they'll travel, and vice versa. People will go from Smithers to visit Shames, so I'm sure in the long run it'll work out very well for both parties.
But apart from being the only game in town, what else does Hudson Bay Mountain have to offer? Why should skiers travel fair distances for the chance to shush the slopes in Smithers?
Well, one thing, you just look outside at the view. It's great that way because on the normal day when it's nice and beautiful. But I think the other thing is the snow conditions. The snow conditions we get here are very consistent. I believe right now we're one of the only areas in the whole province that are in operation with good snow. And sure, it's still a little bit marginal on the chair side. With another snowfall or two, it's just going to be excellent skiing again.
80s.
When you really think about it, skiing is a crazy sport. People pay a lot of money for expensive clothing, expensive equipment, not to mention lift passes. They brave sometimes brutal weather conditions, all just to slide around in a couple of boards. I wonder why they do it.
Yeah. It's fun. It's great.
What's fun about it?
Well, it's just, I really don't know if, like, you have to ski to believe it. I mean, people that haven't skied before, they don't know what they're missing.
Why do I ski? Because it's great. I like it.
What's great about it? Yeah, roads and gratitude. What is so great about this sport?
Fresh air and sunshine, right?
What is the big attraction for skiing for you?
Pretty girls like this. It's exciting.
What's exciting about it?
Speed.
It's fun.
What's fun about it? Kind of fun. Some people like
Going fast.
like that.
Yeah. Well, it's a fun sport.
What's fun about it?
Well, because I like to go on the jumps.
Are you a good skier?
Yep.
That's
Well, because it's, I don't know, I like to slide and to rack out into stuff. Because I like it.
Why? Well then,
Because it's fun.
what's fun about it?
You get a... Do you jump?
What's the big attraction for you?
Powder.
What's so great about powder?
Well, you kind of feel free in it. Deep snow, no untracked snow, nobody in front of it. It's all yours.
Completely different world.
I'm already in my own world, yeah, when I ski.
What is it about skiing that you love so much?
Going fast downhill. Isn't that what it's all about?
Oh, it's just exhilarating being in the fresh air. It's just great. It's a great sensation going down at the speed. Not that much speed, mind you, for my age, but it's great. We enjoy it, and we have a cabin here, so we really enjoy it.
Well, I think mainly it's the outdoors. People want, they have leisure time and they want the recreational aspect of it, try to keep in shape. And skiing does that. And skiing, you can go out and you're all by yourself and run all by yourself and enjoy life. And that's what it's all about. And I think that's why people do ski.
It's great. It's
Feeling.
I don't know, being free, sort of. Being on the mountain. I like being on the mountain, the snow and stuff.
Oh, it beats housework.
It's like flying an airplane. You're free. You get up to the top of a hill in a untracked powder meadow, and you can just float down through the powder, and it's just beautiful. And on our mountain here, we have a lot of days where the whole valley is clouded in, and it's just like being in a plane when you go out a terrace or go out a Smithers in 737 on a cloudy day, and all of a sudden you break out into the sun. Well, we're up here in the sun skiing, and it is just superb. It's just a feeling that a lot of people will never ever have, but it's a real mountain high.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. The Thornhill Fire Department has been planning for the future, including infrastructure improvements, fleet updates, and facility refurbishments. They also have mutual agreements with the Terrace Fire Department to help with staffing for high-risk fires. Let us return to the archives as 2003's fire department prepares for an important event.
For 11 months of the year, activity at the Thornhill Fire Department is much the same as at every other fire department, fairly quiet, except when a fire call comes in. But in December, activities at the fire hall take a decidedly different twist. The true spirit of Christmas pervades the hall, and the firefighters turn their efforts to helping those who are less fortunate, specifically children who, thanks to the Thornhill firefighters, will find a special gift under the tree on Christmas morning. The project is called Santa's Workshop. It involves the TK Christmas tree, stacks of second-hand toys, hundreds of hours of volunteer labor, the Salvation Army, and the immeasurable pleasure of scores of happy children who have an extra Christmas gift. It started a year ago when firefighter Bill de la Ronde thought of the donated toys under the TK Christmas tree and figured he could put his fire crew to work on a special Christmas project.
It was just on a whim. TK has been having their Christmas tree for several years now, and I just thought, well,
I'll approach the fellows here at the fire hall and see what they think about maybe adding to it a little bit, and it was very well received.
Adding it in the sense that you're now taking things that maybe aren't in that great a shape and fixing them up?
That's right. Traditionally, the Christmas tree has been for new toys, and we've been able to take older toys because we have the facilities here to fix them up. So we've been taking old broken toys and either fixing them up or using them as parts to fix up other toys.
So this is the Thornhill Fire Department's contribution to helping out people who are less fortunate.
That's right. Throughout the year, there are houses that get burnt down, and sometimes people unfortunately get left with nothing. Insurance doesn't always cover some of the little things in life, so this helps out.
After the firefighters have collected the donated toys from under the TK Christmas tree, any that are broken are repaired. Then comes the gift wrapping. It's a big job wrapping the hundreds of toys, but that's when the families of the firefighters get involved. A feeling of camaraderie develops, and what could be considered work turns into a lot of fun.
Definitely, it's brought a lot of us a lot closer together, especially the wives, because the firemen are always out, and I shouldn't just say firemen because we have several female firefighters on staff, but the spouses are always out doing their thing, putting out fires, getting involved in fire-related activities, and this is one informal activity where everybody can really get to know each other. It's really helped.
So how much work are these men having to do on these toys?
Well, they're coming out at least a couple nights a week for as many as 3 or 4 hours, and there's about 30 of us involved altogether, although not all at the same time. Usually there's a dozen or two.
When the fixing and wrapping of the toys is finished, it forms an impressive sight. All in all, just over 400 toys were readied to make needy children's Christmas a bit brighter. That's more than double the number of gifts the firefighters did last year, and although this is only the second year of the Santa's Workshop, it looks like it could develop into a tradition.
It looks pretty promising. It would be pretty hard to stop now. People have really caught on to what we're doing. This year, as I mentioned, we have double what we had last year, so the word has really gotten out, and we just can't say no.
When the gifts are wrapped and ready, they're taken back to the TK Christmas tree, the first step in getting them to the children. That's when the Salvation Army becomes involved. The Sally Ann is no stranger to Christmas time work to help the needy. The Christmas Kettle campaign is a perennial effort, and with the success of the Thornhill Fire Department's Santa's Workshop program, the Army will likely become an annual partner in this worthwhile cause as well. Officials say the need is definitely there.
We've seen an increase on single mothers, and we've also seen an increase of single people coming into terrace, maybe looking for work, not finding work, and staying here.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Upon her passing in 2008, the sharing tree was renamed Henny Sharing Tree to celebrate a life of tremendous charitable service. For almost 50 years, community members of the Northwest have dropped off unwrapped gifts to help those less fortunate during the holiday season. In this final segment of Open Connection, let us return to archives to see the Salvation Army sort those gifts.
After picking up the gifts from under the TK tree, they're taken to the Salvation Army Hall, where volunteers separate them into categories, boys and girls, and the different ages. From here, the presents are distributed to needy families in the area, the final stop in the goodwill chain that is the Thornhill Fire Department's Santa's Workshop. The workshop is a noble effort of the firefighters, but it's not the only way they get into the Christmas spirit. On a December afternoon, the fire hall is again alive with activity. This time they're decorating the trucks as part of the preparations for their annual Christmas Carol campaign.
We started Christmas caroling in 1981. That started off on a real small scale, and like the toys, took off from there. And every year it gets a little bit bigger and longer, and to what we have today.
It takes about 4 hours for the firefighters to decorate the two pumper trucks, which later that night take to the streets of Thornhill, broadcasting Christmas carols for some 5 hours from the brightly festooned trucks.
We're using almost exclusively electric decorations, in other words, lights and illuminated decorations, for the simple reason that we do this in dark hours and you really wouldn't see them otherwise. The preparations themselves that day will go on from about 4 hours before the trucks actually hit the road at 5 o'clock. There's a lot of lights to put up. As I mentioned before, generators to make sure they're ready. At the same time, we have to bear in mind that these are fire trucks. These trucks have to be ready to go anytime, including halfway through the caroling. So the trucks are decorated with that in mind. They're left totally functional, although it probably doesn't appear to the general public.
The firefighters say the mobile caroling is their Christmas card to Thornhill. The generator to power the electrics is fired up, and then the caravan is on its way.
Frosty the snowman was a jolly happy soul, with a corncob pipe and a button nose, and his eyes made out of coal. Frost.
We cover the streets of Thornhill for 4 hours continually. We start at 5 o'clock and we end as close to 9 o'clock as we can. We don't like to go too much past 9 because it's quite loud and there are parents trying to put children to sleep. It's exciting enough time of year without us disturbing them.
So people hear you coming down the street and they come outside to see what the caroling's all about?
Yeah, they sure do. It sort of signifies the beginning of Christmas for many families in Thornhill.
I'm not sure.
We get calls for as much as a month ahead of time asking which night it's going to be and what time do you think we'll be past their house. And it's quite exciting for all the kids and adults. They really get into the swing of things. They come out and greet Santa Claus, who's riding right on top of the big bumper. And it's their chance to get their last request in before Christmas. So it's quite exciting for everybody. There's cookies being passed back and forth, and we try to hand out as many treats to children as we can.
While the Thornhill firefighters spend much of December working on their Santa's workshop and the mobile Christmas caroling, the two programs are really sidebar issues to their prime function, which is of course firefighting and fire prevention. And so the Deputy Fire Chief has a few reminders on fire safety hazards associated with the Christmas season.
If your tension cord looks like it's in really good condition, it's probably okay to use. If you have to fool around with it to get it to work, throw the thing away and buy yourself a new one. They're quite inexpensive and very cheap insurance. And the same goes for your Christmas tree lights, especially inside. Use inside lights inside and outdoor lights outdoors. And if the bulbs are burnt, unplug it before you try to put a new one in. And if the sockets are not in very good condition, again, discard it and buy a new string. It's, again, very cheap insurance. Chimney fires at Christmas time can be a problem, especially on Christmas Day. It's a really handy way to dispose of Christmas wrap, which is quite volatile and goes out very fast. And if your chimney is really clean, usually it's not a problem if you burn it slowly, a little at a time. But if you've been a little neglect on cleaning your chimney, it can start a chimney fire, and that's when we come into play again.
And there's one more Christmas season reminder from all the crew at the Thornhill Fire Department.
I like to remind them to all have a really good time and sharing what it's all about. That's what we're trying to do here, and we hope you all have a really Merry Christmas.
He's making a list and checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.